The most powerful navies in 2030 will be a reflection of the broader state of the world. Some countries are invested in preserving the current international order, and see naval power as a means to maintain it. Other emerging countries are building navies commensurate with their newfound sense of status, often with an eye towards challenging that order. Ship-wise, there are two classes that will define the most powerful navies, that is aircraft carriers and ballistic missile submarines. Aircraft carriers reflect the need to maintain a global, or even regional, power projection capability. Ballistic missile submarines reflect a maturation and diversification of a country's nuclear arsenal, with an eye toward maintaining a second strike capability in case of surprise attack. More than any other type, those two will define naval power in the early to mid-21st century, reported nationalinterest.com. The United States. The United States, the dominant naval power worldwide in 1945, will continue to dominate the seas 85 years later. By 2030 the Navy will be halfway through its 30-year shipbuilding plan and have built 3 Gerald R. Ford-class aircraft carriers to begin replacing existing Nimitz-class carriers. Amphibious ship numbers should be slightly higher than current numbers, and the first ship in class to replace the Ohio ballistic missile submarines should enter service in 2031. In surface combatants, all 3 Zumwalt-class cruisers will be in service assuming the program remains fully funded, and the Navy will have built 33 more Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. A next-generation version of the littoral combat ship will enter production in 2030. The United Kingdom. The Royal Navy of 2030 will be paradoxically the smallest and yet most powerful in the history of the United Kingdom. A combination of 2 new aircraft carriers, restoring fixed-wing flight to Navy after a 40-year hiatus, and a fleet of ballistic missile submarines will keep a numerically inferior Royal Navy in the top 5. The Royal Navy's surface fleet, currently at 19 destroyers and frigates, will shrink even further to 6 Type 45 guided missile destroyers and 8 global combat ship frigates. The number of nuclear-powered attack submarines will remain constant at 7. China. The People's Liberation Army Navy or PLAN of 2030 will continue to build on the ground broken by the PLAN of 2016. Currently, China has 4 major ship hulls it seems to be content with, that is the Type 052D guided missile destroyer, Type 054A frigate, Type 056 corvette and Type 071 amphibious transport. All 4 are mature designs in large-scale production that will form the bulk of the fleet in 2030. By one prediction, by 2030 the PLAN will have 99 submarines, 4 aircraft carriers, 102 destroyers and frigates, 26 corvettes, 73 amphibious ships and 111 missile craft, a whopping 415 ships in total, to approximately 309 in the U.S. Navy of 2030. This would put China in a solid position as the world's largest navy by number of ships, though not by total ship tonnage. India. The Indian Navy will be the second or third, if you count Russia, Asian Navy on this list. India has recently begun pouring enormous resources into its naval service, and as a result by 2030 could have one of the top 5 navies on the planet. Barring unforeseen naval developments in other countries, by 2030 India will have the second largest carrier fleet in the world, with 3 flattops. If all goes according to plan, India should have 3 aircraft carriers, that is Vikramaditya, Vikrant and Vishal, together fielding a total of about 110 to 120 aircraft. Russia. A plan to replace 90% of Russian military equipment, including ships and naval equipment, has stalled. By 2030, Russia's position on this list will be in large part due to its ballistic missile submarine fleet. 8 Bore submarines, each carrying 20 Bulava missiles, will be in service, forming the second largest ballistic missile submarine fleet in the world. Project 23,000, or Storm, would be a nuclear-powered carrier 330 meters long and displacing 100,000 tons, making it the closest competitor to a Ford-class carrier. Nuclear-powered, the carrier will embark up to 100 aircraft, including a navalized version of the Su-57 fifth-generation fighter.